to my computer.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, I know sometimes that happens, but
Mhm.
yeah, so that's why we're doing this again today
Yeah.
So what I want to start with here is the 3 C's to creating that authority, to finishing your book. And the first piece is you having clarity. When we are clear on our message, what we want to deliver. Again, when I wrote my first book, The Year of Fears, I had no idea who I was going to write to, what my message was going to be, how I was going to write it. I had zero clarity. I was like starting literally like a baby just opening up its eyes, for the first time. So gaining this clarity is going to be really important for helping you to move forward in the book and to help you to finish it faster. So Vanda, you're like, said it takes me a long time to write it. You want to shorten the time that you write it. So hopefully these 3 C's are going to help you to gain that more clarity in order to get the book written faster. So this is one thing is these questions right here are really helpful to help you to gain that clarity. So the first thing is, who is your reader? But not only your reader, but who's your ideal reader? Who is it that if your book is transformational, what kind of transformation are they going to get from you? And who is that person that wants that transformation? If you're writing a fiction book, are they the person who wants to pay attention to every single detail, or are they the person who wants to kind of gloss over things? So really knowing who that reader is really important, not only in writing the book, but also in doing your marketing. It's important to understand who that reader is. And again, your ideal reader is important for you to understand so that you can write to that person or for that person. So the next question is, see, most of the books we work with, I should say most, all of the books we work with are nonfiction books. So these questions are all going to be related to nonfiction, which is what transformation are they going to get from reading your book? So they're reading it. Are they getting some transformation while they're reading it? Are they getting it when they close that book finally for that last page? And there's some transformation they've gotten. So my book, The Year of Fears, my goal with what ended up being my goal is my reader was the person who I really wanted to write for women who have fear, and they were letting their fears stop them from living their life. They were letting their fears stop them from doing whatever it was that they wanted to do, but fear kept getting in the way. What transformation did I want them to get? Well, I looked at that and I said, if they break through their fears, how their life will change. So maybe the transformation would be leaving a spouse they've been with forever. My mom was with my dad for 55 years and wished she had left 54 years earlier, but she spent 55 years with him. That transformation for her would have been leaving my dad. So there's varying ranges of things that we can help people to do, but to understand what that transformation is. So the transformation in that instance would be having the confidence to take the action, right? Because having the confidence to break through that fear. So I was wanting my book to give that message, that transformation. And then what action will they take? So this is actually an action thinking about what steps do you want them to take that you envision them taking? Is this them, reading a course? Is this them, getting another book? Is this them going out and starting to dance? Is this them wanting to, start to play music or whatever? What is that action that they're going to take either while they're reading your book or after they're done reading your book? And then that last question, what does this book do for you, yourself? So looking at it from this perspective is a question that every time, 100% of the time, when I get on a call with somebody to talk about their book, and I ask them this question, what do you want the book to do for you? I hear the same sort of response almost every single time. And that's that I want them to be able to have this kind of transformation in their life. And I said, no. What do you want it to do for you? Not for the reader, but for you. If you're a coach, if you have a business, do you want them to hop on a call with you? If you have a course that you're offering, do you want them to take the course? What action do you want them to take that's going to benefit you? You're writing the book, you want to sell books, but also you want to make a transformation in their lives. So you got to really think about that so that you can make sure that however you're writing it, it leads them to take that action. So when I was one of our authors that we worked with, she had worked with 10 publishers prior to coming with us. She had written 10 books. She was a business leader for 35 years, written 10 books, worked with like one of the big box companies. And then when she came to us with her book, she already knew what she wanted to write about, what the message was and everything. And so I was reading her book. I was going to critique it for her. This is what I was doing, is critiquing her book. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, I got to work with this woman. Because she was a sales coach, a business sales coach. And oh my God, I have to work with her. So what that taught me was that while people are reading our books, we can get them excited about something so that they want to work with us before they even close that last page. There's something about working with us that's going to get them to move, take that action so that they can have that transformation that you help them with. So answering these 4 questions are going to help you to get clear and to remain clear, because once you have that clarity, it'll help you to keep moving forward in the correct direction. I don't know about you guys, but I have a tendency to wander off into a whole different world than when I started. And I have to remind myself, come back, come back. So these questions really help me as I sit down to write, to remind myself why I'm sitting down to write today, what the message is that I want to convey, who I want to convey that message for, and what action I want them to take. So this is a helpful piece to bring you back to center, because when we are writing and we have clarity, things flow. When it's muddy, it doesn't flow so well. So those are going to really help. Okay, so the next one is after clarity. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. Okay. After clarity. Oh, so we had Latara Dragoo. She worked with us in several of our books. She's been one of our collaborative authors who has written chapters in many of our collaborative books, which are like Chicken Soup for the Soul, where several people come together and share a story. And she says, Linda was able to help me create a breakthrough in my own thinking and in my own mindset about how I am approaching my business. This goes far beyond just helping me write. I really appreciate Linda and Sally for being so awesome and so generous with their time, their information, and how much they want to help uplift the people in their lives. So writing a book is way more than just writing a book, and getting somebody to help you with that book can be way more than just the book. It can be about your mindset as well. So what I'm going to teach you right now is the simple process. It's not written in stone. It's not a rule like this has to be done this way. What this is sharing the process that my book coach taught me 11 years ago so that I could sit down and write my book from start to finish in 7 days. That clarity was number one. That was number one. So the next thing we do is we look at our book. Now we have our message. We know who our intended reader is. We know what we're going to write our book about, and we sit down and come up with an outline. So this outline that I'm going to show you right now, this outline is going to help you to, again, stay on track, to stay centered, to stay within that clarity, and to make sure that you're writing the message for the intended reader, and they're going to take that intended action that you want them to take. So the first thing is you come up with chapter titles. So I'm going to use this as an example, because this is the example that I used in my book, The Year of Fears. You're going to come up with 7 chapter titles, and making sure that these chapter titles relate to the topic of your book. So when I wrote my book, The Year of Fears, I have the first chapter is titled Know Your Numbers. And the reason I did that is because back in 2015, I forgot to share this, back in 2015, I decided to break through one fear every single day for a year. And in doing so, it totally changed my entire life. And this is why I always write about breaking through fear, because that was such a transformational year for me. And now I can help others to break through their fears. Well, one of the things that I was always scared to do my whole life was to look at the numbers, the math, look at the amount of money in my bank account, look at the expenses, look at the income, because there was never enough. There was never enough. And I always had these fears that I was going to look at my bank account and it was going to be negative. So that right there tainted me from a very young age that made me not want to look at my numbers. And so what I learned, though, is by knowing our numbers, that this can give us information that can help us to break through the fears that we may have. So that's why it's in my book. It's called Know Your Numbers. And then what I did is I took that chapter title and then I broke it into 3 different subparts or subtitles that would go within the book. And those 3 subparts would be what I would write about. So what we have in this example is you come up with 7 chapter titles that relate to your book. And then within each chapter title, you're going to come up with 3 subtitles. Each of those subtitles should, reach back to the chapter that you're writing. And then the third one should help them to bridge the gap from the first chapter to the beginning of the second chapter. So when you're coming up with your subtitles, just making sure that whatever flow that you're going to go through in this book, that it's going to help them to move along smoothly so they don't feel like they're being hit over the head, with a sledgehammer when they're going to that next chapter. You want to make sure that it moves them into it so it's a smooth transition. So you come up with your 7 chapter titles, you come up with your 3 subtitles per chapter. Now you have 21 sections to write about, and that's 21 subtitles. And then what you do is you look at all 21 of those subtitles and you figure out throughout your life, whether it's your life, it's somebody else's story, or like you can use a parable, use a story inside of each subtitle. So as an example, chapter 1, subtitle 1, inside of my book, The Year of Fears. So it's titled Know Your Numbers. And then the first subtitle is Blissful Ignorance is Still Ignorance. So the idea behind that was that if you don't know your numbers, you're ignorant, and you may be blissful because you're not realizing what what your numbers are, but it's still ignorance. You don't know, you have no knowledge. And for my story that I included in that was about how my sister told me to look at my numbers every single week. Like, she was helping me grow my business. Every week she would say, you need to look at your numbers. You need to know your numbers. And I was like, no. And I just wanted to remain ignorant about it. And come to find out, she was 100% right. But I realized that it was my fear of seeing how little money I had that was preventing me from looking at my numbers. So I needed to learn how to break through that fear of looking at my numbers. There are a lot of fears I broke through during that year, but that was just one of them. So in that subtitle, the story I talk about is my sister, the numbers, her helping me to see how important it was to look at my numbers, and how looking at my numbers would actually empower me, not disempower me, because I felt it was going to be a bad thing to see those numbers. So I come up with a story for every single subtitle. There's a saying that every point should have a story and every story should have a point. So this is why we come up with stories. Some of the stories might be really short. Some of them might be a little bit longer. Again, some stories might be something you saw or you heard or you read. It doesn't have to be 100% your story. It just has to be something that's going to help your reader to see themselves in that story so that they too can see that they can, in my example, break through that fear, right? So it's picking the stories that are going to fit the outline that you're creating, that are going to move them into action so that they will take the action that you want them to take, because that action that you want them to take is the one that's going to be that one that's going to help them to want to work with you, if that's the direction that you want your book to go in. If you want them to take a course, it's going to be the action that's going to move them into do that. So making sure that that through line, Laura mentioned through line earlier, but making sure that that through line is something that's going to keep them seeing over and over and over and over again that you are the person that they want to work with. You already know what to write. You just haven't created a formula in order to get it down yet. So this is a great example. When Abigail came to us, she had already written a book. It was 160 pages long. I don't remember the title of the book that she came to us but it was very confusing. Her book that she brought to us was trying to reach two different people, completely different. One was a caregiver and one was the person being cared for. They're completely different mission. They have completely different ideas, different needs, different wants, completely opposite, really, if you think about it. And so she was writing the book for those two completely opposite people, and it was very confusing. I remember when I read the first 10 pages, I was like, I'm not really sure who she's writing for. And then I was like, okay, let me give it another 10 pages. And I still wasn't clear. So I got to page 40. And after 40 pages, because I was reading her book for clarity for her. And I got to that page 40 and I reached out to her and I felt really bad because her book wasn't reaching who she wanted it to reach at all. And I reached out to her and I said, let's hop on a call and talk about your book. So we got on a call and I asked her if she was open to being, critiqued on it. And she said, oh yeah, definitely. Give it to me. And so by the end of that call, she realized that she needed to start over again because she had zero clarity. So she had written 160 pages. She poured her heart and her soul into it, but she lacked clarity. Even if she finished the book and I said, you know what, we're going to publish it for you, even though it's a mess, we're going to publish it. I would have been doing a disservice to her and nobody would have understood her book. And she would not have been able to give the transformation that she was wanting to give people. So by the end of that call, she got total clarity on it. She tossed the draft, started all over from page 1, word 1, rewrote the whole entire book in 6 weeks, and then got it published a month later. And what was amazing about this is that, first of all, I got to hand it to her. Because when somebody says, you know what, you got to scrap it and start over, that can be disheartening. But she was like, it stings, but I get it. And I want to deliver a product that is going to be beneficial for my readers. And so she went into it hesitatingly, but immediately shifted her mindset and started writing and got it written. Now, one thing that was really important about Abigail, and I want to share this because this is something that's really important for us to think about when we're writing our book. And again, knowing who your ideal reader is going to be able to help you. So with Abigail, she decided instead of writing for the person who was being cared for, she wanted to write for the caregiver. And I asked her a question. How much time does a caregiver have? Oh gosh, they're strapped for time. They're always taking care of, the person, and they're always, taken away from whatever it is that they want to do. They don't have very much time. I said, okay, if they don't have much time, how long do you think your book should be? And she said, probably pretty short. And I said, yes, exactly. So what she came up with was to write a 31-day companion for caregivers. And, she was, her people help people that are going through hospice situations. And so it was 31 days. And she decided to make it 3 to 4 pages per day. So now somebody can pick up her book and say, day 1, I can read 4 pages. Day 2, I can read 4 pages. Her person was very short in time, so she made her chapters very short. So again, understanding who your reader is really important so that you can read to them. I mean, you can get the message out to them. Some books, like one that I really love is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Some of those chapters are long. Oh my gosh. And I have to really invest myself into reading a full chapter in one setting. But if the chapters are shorter, it's a lot easier. Could that book have been split up into about 30 chapters? Probably so. Probably so. But, he wrote a long book. That's the way it was back then. And I think it was 1930s or 1940s or something that he wrote that book. And that's the way it was then. People didn't have computers. They didn't have all the distractions like we have today. So really knowing that audience member, that reader, is going to be extremely important. She had somebody who reached out to her. She didn't know them. And she said, your book has changed my life as a caregiver. Those are the messages that we want, what's going to help people to move forward. And then the last one is completion. Now, here's where we're going to do some numbers. Know your numbers, because math is always honest, 100%. Math never tells lies. And so we're going to look at this from a perspective to show how easy and fast it is really to write your book. So the first option here is the blue option here. It says, if you dictate, you're going to dictate about 160 words per minute. The average person speaks 160 words per minute. Some speak a lot faster and some speak a lot slower, but that is the average for human beings. And so if you were to sit down for 30 minutes a day and dictate 160 words a minute, you would end up with 144,000 words, and that's approximately 524 pages. That's a lot. 30 days, 30 minutes, 144,000 words. That's a lot. And I'm telling you, you can do this. However, the challenge with 160 words per minute is that sometimes you need to take time to stop and think. So maybe you're not going to average 160 words per minute every day for 30 minutes, but you might realistically average 60 words per minute for 30 minutes is 54,000 words. And that ends up to be an almost 200-page book right there. If you can sit down, think out your thoughts, once you, like, for example, you have that outline done. And once you sit down and you look at that outline and you see which stories are tied to the subtitles, you know the stories. So if you know the stories and you sit down to write, it should flow pretty easily because you already know the story. Are you going to tell the story perfectly? No, you clean it up later. You don't worry about how it looks, what the words are, because you're going to clean that up later. The idea right now is like, get it on paper. You got to get it written so that you can finish it, so that you can massage it, so that you can make it make sense. You can always go back and do that later. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier is when you sit down to write and you have those, in the example I gave, 7 chapters, 3 subtitles per chapter, as you sit down and write, you can look at your table of contents and you can say, what am I inspired to write right now? What am I inspired to write right now? Because if you're writing from inspiration, things again will flow. The words will come out just as they're supposed to. You're sitting down, you're looking at it, you're saying, you know what, chapter 3, subtitle 2, that is speaking to me right now. I know exactly what I'm going to write. And then you sit down and write. So you don't have to write the book in order. The idea here is, again, to get it on paper, get it finished. If you start at the beginning, this is why a lot of times people have, writer's block, is because they're not writing about what they're inspired to write right now. They're writing in structure from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And that structure might not be fitting your inspiration right now. So what happens? You get writer's block. Next thing you know, you're washing the windows, or you're mowing the lawn, or you're taking a nap, or you're doing all these things, but not writing. So you're going to be in the same place next year as you are today, because you haven't taken the time to sit down and say, what am I inspired to write about right now? This system, I did this every single day for 7 days in a row. And I wrote 3 subtitles every day. And that's why I was able to finish my book in 7 days, because I took this exact system and did it. So now when I say, if you dictate 160 words per minute, I'm literally meaning dictate. Take out your phone, dictate, pull up a Zoom, record it, dictate, to pull up a Word document, a Google document. There's a voice option there, like voice typing, I think is on Google. And I think it might be voice writer or something in Word, but just click those buttons and start speaking the words. Because again, you're sitting down, you're writing what you're inspired to write about. Just keep saying those words, dictate those words, get them out of your head and get them onto the paper. One of the things that I really love about this technique, as far as dictating it instead of writing it, is because I don't know about you guys, but as a legal secretary for 30 years, my typing is like a legal secretary. My voice, my verbal voice, is not like a legal secretary. And I want my book to have literally my voice. So when we dictate, it's literally your voice. Not only will it be your voice, but it'll be a lot faster, because most of us can speak a lot faster than we can type. Now, I type about 100 words a minute, which is awesome, but I still, when I'm typing, thoughts flow by and I'm like, what was that thought again? I can't remember. I knew I had a good idea while I was typing, but I didn't take a note, and I didn't make a notation anywhere. And I just kept typing, and I was like, I'll remember it. And then I forgot it. So we miss a lot when we type. So this dictation is going to be really helpful, again, to help you to finish the book faster. And then one of the things that we do recommend for our clients, as I mentioned with Abigail's book, originally it was 160 pages. And when she finished it, I think it ended up being like 130 pages. So it's still a lot of pages, but she did four pages per chapter. And she was able to distill it down into something that was more palatable for her reader. So one of the things we recommend to our clients who are wanting to write a book for their business is to make it shorter. And the reason is because who is your client? Are they running around with their hair on fire? Do they have kids and a spouse that they're taking care of? Do they have little time to learn from you? Do they have little time to take for that transformation? So write to them. So we recommend doing anywhere from 15,000 to 30,000 words. We call these our TAB books, tiny action books. And with these books, you're able to get your message to your reader in a very short, succinct period of time. Instead of trying to teach them 50 things, teach them one thing. Teach them one thing really well, and then create a series of 50 books. So it's, in my opinion, it's better to have a series of 50 books with different messages, each of them having their own message, than to have one book with 50 messages. And then it's like a lot for them to really digest. So if you think about any books that you've read and how those books have transformed your life, what were those books about? What was the message? How clear was that message? Did it make you take an action that you might not otherwise have taken had you not read that book? That's what your book is going to do for your reader. So getting that clarity again is number one. So now the tiny action books, if you look at 30 days and you're wanting to write 30,000 words, this example, if you write just 1,000 words per day for 30 days, you've got a 30,000 word book. So if you were to split that up by subtitles, and you did 333 words per subtitle, then you'd have 3 written every single day with 1,000 words. Just an example. I'm throwing some numbers out there. I don't even know what that would look like. Probably not very good. So like 1,000 words would be a good subtitle, because that's about 2 to 3 pages typed. And again, in 30 days, your book is written. And if you cut it down to 15,000 words, like, our recommendation is about, we like to say like 15 to 20,000 really. And with 15,000 words, you can be done in 15 days, or to write 500 words a day in 30 days. And there you go, 30,000 words, book written. It's a lot simpler than we make it out to be. And I think a lot of the reason why we complicate things is because we just tend to do that. Like, that's what we tend to do as human beings. So getting that clarity, and then what am I inspired to write about right now? What am I inspired to write about right now? You can't go wrong if you're inspired. So you just sit down and write it. Next thing you know, you've written your book. Well, when Amy came to us, she said, I'm grateful to have made the decision to publish a book with other brilliant women authors. It's been boosting my confidence to write more and share through books. Thank you, Linda, and our Action Takers publishing team for this incredible experience. Amy came to us, wanted to share her story, but didn't know what to write about. So we got on a call with her, helped her to kind of like figure it out. And she got the book written and took part in one of our collaboration books as well. So now it's time to get that book written, hit that easy button, get the book written and finished. Now, knowing all this is great, but finishing your book isn't a product of knowing. You have to actually take that action, right? You have to move into action in order to make it happen. So information without execution is an unfinished manuscript. Now, the hard truth here is that if nothing changes, nothing changes. 6 months from now, if you don't take any action, you're still not going to have that book. Your ideas, they're still going to be stuck in your head. You will still be introducing yourself without that extra piece of authority of being an author. And someone else will have written the book that you should have written. You got to take that action. So today what we covered is clarity, is like knowing your reader, knowing the message that you want to convey to them, what action you want them to take, and how it's going to help you. And then the creation was writing by the numbers. That's the 7 chapters, the 3 subtitles, which is a total of 21 sections, 21 stories within those sections. So in order for people to be able to see themselves in the story, in the message, and then there you go, 30 days, you're done. Simple math, simple math. Now, here's that's the structure. And if you think that this is awesome, I want you to write awesome in the chat. I would love to see if anybody has any thoughts. I haven't seen anything come through in the chat since we've been here. But if you think that is awesome, please just drop the word awesome. And I have to leave. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Sally. I see that. And thank you, Laura. Okay, we'll connect with you. We'll connect with you. And so I want you to imagine this. You get a delivery in the mail, and it's an Amazon delivery. You open that book, that box, and there it is, your book, your name right on that cover, that design that you created, your name is on there. You open that book, you look at it inside, and it looks like, guess what? A real book. I remember when I first saw my first book, I was like, it's real. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I did that work. I made it happen, got it published. It's a book. It's not a magazine article. It's not a social media post. It's not a blog. It's an actual book. Holding that in your hands for the first time and then realizing that, wow, I actually finished it. I finished what I started. It's such a great feeling. So you're not working on a book anymore. Now you're an author. You're a published author. You've gotten your book written and published. So you're not one day away from anything. You are one decision away, just one decision that can change your life. When your book is done, you're holding that finished product in your hands. And when a stranger says to you, your book changed my life, there is nothing quite like that feeling. Like the woman that I saw at an event, there were 400 people in the audience, and I didn't know her, but she bought my book from Amazon. And she came running over to me and she's like, Linda Sunshine, I got your book, The Year of Fears. I read the first 5 pages and I broke through 8 fears already. Wow. Wow. My words changed her life. That was amazing. I never would have imagined that it could have done that, but it did, because she told me. And then you're introduced on stage as a published author, the author of XYZ book, your book. And then your book opens the door to your next big opportunity as well, because you don't know what's lying down the path there for you. When I was in my first book, which was a collaborative book, which then led to my solo book, I had no idea that now today I would be sitting here looking at you as a 52 times #1 international best-selling author. That was never, ever in my trajectory, ever in my life, because I was never a reader and never a writer, not interested in either of those. But here I am, I sit here today helping people to write and publish their books because I took that first step and I finished the action. We could start and not finish, or we can choose to be a finisher. So here's the truth, is that version of you, the one holding your finished book, the one finally calling yourself an author, I'm an author. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens with structure and it happens with support. I provided you the structure. I told you exactly the steps that I took in order to write my first book, The Year of Fears. I wrote that in 7 days using that exact guideline, the exact thing. And then the next book I wrote in 13.5 hours. I used that same structure, but I used AI in addition. And then also it happens with support. So you have a decision to make right now. And that decision is to stay where you are. You can do it all by yourself. I gave you the structure. Or you can join us in our How to Write Your Book in 30 Days challenge. and get it done in the next 30 days. You'll have our support with you. We're going to be here to help guide you through that journey for that 30 days. So the Write Your Book in 30 Days challenge, it is ready for you to join us. And here's what you get inside of that challenge to help you to finish writing your book. Start it, finish it in 30 days. You can do it. I know you can do it. I've seen many people do it. I myself did it. So I know firsthand experience that it can be done. So what you're going to get in the challenge is clarity. You're going to get confidence. You're going to create it. It's going to be built and created. You're going to have the community behind you, the people that are there to support you. Also, Sally Larkin Green and I, she's our COO at Action Takers Publishing. We're going to be here as part of your community to help guide you along the journey. And then you're going to go across that finish line. Dun, 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 dun. Carrying your book. Dun, 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 dun. I can see you right now crossing that finish line, carrying your book. So we're going to give you everything that you need in order to finish writing your book. Now, here's what's included in the challenge. We're going to do 10 live writing / coaching sessions. These are times where if you're like, you know what, I know what I need to write, and I just want to use that time. It's an hour each session. I want to use that time to block it off to make sure I write. You can use it for that. If you're like, I'm not clear on this, I'm not clear on that, I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, I'm not sure about my audience, you have any lack of clarity, we're going to help you through that, through these writing / coaching sessions. So we're going to be there to help you through this, through that 30 days. Again, that's 10 live writing sessions. If you're not able to attend them, that's okay. That's okay, because we're also going to be sending emails on a daily basis with different tips, tricks, tools, techniques that are going to help you to move to that next stage. You're also going to get access to these individual specialized writing suite, which are 9 custom tools that we created to help you to get your book written. You're not sure who your ideal reader is? Well, this tool, the who is your ideal reader, is going to help you with that. You're not sure what to title your book or what subtitle, because these are really important pieces as well. Writing the book is amazing. Coming up with title and subtitle is what's going to get people to say, yes, I want to buy the book. So this tool is going to help you with that. You're not sure exactly where to go with, like what kind of an introduction to write in your book. The introduction writer tool is going to help you with that. You're not sure about your chapter outline. You need help with that. You need a little bit of guidance. The chapter outline is going to help you with that. So these are the tools that we're going to be gifting you in the challenge as well. The next is the community of action takers. It's to surround yourself with those people who have finished their book and people who are in the same place as you. They're either starting or they're in the middle of writing their book right now. We're going to provide that community, and we are part of the community as well. The next is we're going to have live group coaching and feedback, so that if you have any questions about what you're writing right now, you're not really sure where to go, you're having a little bit of clarity issues, the live group coaching and feedback can help you with that as well. And then if you sign up with us today, sign up for the challenge, a $499 value. That's a fast action bonus. Again, it's only if you sign up today for the challenge. You're going to get a one-on-one book kickstart sprint session. Say that 10 times fast. So it's going to help you to gain that clarity, that momentum, just like Abigail. I sat down with her for a half hour to an hour. We got really clear on her message. And then next thing you know, she wrote her book in 4 weeks or 6 weeks and was able to get it done and published. So that clarity session is going to be key in order to help you to move forward, to get that book written and finished. So again, in the challenge is 10 live writing sessions, individual specialized AI writing suite, a community of action takers, and that live group coaching feedback is a total value of $8,696. But then if you take that fast action bonus and get that one-on-one sprint, it's a $499 value. The total value today, if you sign up today, the total value is $91.95. And I forgot the fast action bonus actually expires on Sunday. So you don't have to make a decision today, but the sooner you make a decision, the sooner you can start, the sooner we can hop on a call with you and get you moving forward. So I want you to think about this. Like, what would it be worth to finally finish your book? How long has it been on your mind? How many times have somebody said to you, you need to write a book? How many times have you thought about writing that book? you sat down, darn, a year went by and I haven't written my book yet. What would it mean for you to finally finish that book? Well, you can sit down and pay a ghostwriter. They can write the book for you. You can pay them anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 to sit down and write your book. But then again, it's still not going to be your voice. It's going to be your voice through them trying to figure out what your voice is. So ghostwriters are great. Don't get me wrong. I think they're amazing, but it's not your voice. So the total value of $91.95, if you sign up by Sunday, it's the total is of the challenge is $1,000. So it's less than the cost of a weekend giveaway. You can go to actiontakerspublishing.com/challenge and sign up with us. Sign up today, sign up by Sunday, by this coming Sunday, whatever day that is, June 7th, I think. Sign up with us by Sunday and you will get that one-on-one session to help you to get that fast action bonus. And again, it's less than $34 per day, $34 per day. If you join us in the challenge, I want you to imagine yourself 30 days from today, having written your book. Now it might not be final, but you've got it written, because to go back and to fix a book is a lot easier than the writing part, because now you got your message clear. And as you write, you'll find yourself gain more and more and more clarity. So it's getting started is important, getting finished is important, and then getting that thing published so you can help to transform people's lives. This book will last a lifetime. I wrote The Year of Fears back in 2016, so it's experiencing its 10-year anniversary, and people are still commenting on how they've read it, how it's helping them to break through fears. It's doing its job, and it's doing what I wanted to do for me as well. So limited spots are available. We're doing this with no more than 8 people. We want to make sure that we keep it very intimate. We're able to work with everybody one-on-one very closely in order to help you to get that book written. We want to see you finish it. That's the most important piece. We could have done something where we get like 600 people in it, but that's not what's important to us. It's not the number of people, it's the quality of the work and the quantity of people that we have finished, that they finish it, right? Instead of thinking about it, I don't want you to go 30 days from now and be like, oh, I didn't start that thing. I want you to be saying, I finished my book. That's why we're keeping this very small, no more than 8 people to be in this challenge. Clock is ticking, time waits for nobody. Again, go to actiontakerspublishing.com/challenge. You want to join us today? We'd love to have you. And then we can immediately get on one of those one-on-one calls to help you kickstart your book and get it done. Remember, you are only one decision away. So I do have a free gift for you today. Sally, I think you dropped the link to the challenge in there, but also I have a free gift for you. Thank you for sticking around for this session. And I created what's called a custom GPT. This does use ChatGPT in order for you to figure out who your ideal reader is. It'll ask you a simple question, and then there's a couple questions that come after, and it's going to help you to build it out. So if you're a person or somebody who's writing a book for midlife women who want to rebuild their confidence after divorce, then it will ask you some questions and it'll answer. So here it let out, posted your ideal reader profile. Now this is a really important piece too, is writing to one person. Instead of trying to write to a whole bunch of people, write to one person, because as I sit down and read a book, I am the only person I am present. I'm not sitting with a group of people. I'm not sitting on a conference call. I am with myself. I'm reading the book. Write to that person. So what this ideal reader GPT will do is it's going to help you get very clear on who your person is. Then after you've got that ideal reader profile created, I recommend print that out so that every time you sit down to write, every time you find yourself strolling your brain off into another wonderland, is to come back, look at the ideal reader profile, remember who you're writing for, what message you want to deliver to them, what action you want them to take, and how that is going to help you in order for them to take that action that's going to help you as well in your business. So you already know that you want this. You already know that you've been putting off writing your book. You know that your book matters. And you also know that nothing changes unless you do. So the only question for you to ask today is, am I going to be the person who finishes, or am I going to keep starting? Simple question. Are you going to be the person who finishes or the person who keeps starting? Join us in the Write Your Book in 30 Days Challenge. We start next Wednesday, June 10th, and go to actiontakerspublishing.com/challenge. We are here to help you get through this, to get your book written. And then that next step is for you to get it published, right? So we want to help you to get it written because that's the first step, Let's take that first step together. We're here to help you on that. So with that said, are there any questions? I will come off of there. And Vanda, were you able to be here the whole time? I know you had some potential.
Yes, yes, I was
Okay.
mostly. I got the gist of it, and it sounds great. I'm not struggling with writing. I actually have a group I meet with every week, and we keep each other on task, and kind of like what you guys do, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it's yeah. So, but I just really, I really love to consider writing something that's not super literate. Like my writing is nuanced and subtle and literate, and like I got a Pulitzer Prize winning author who said she's a great writer. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
right on the cover of my book. So I'm interested in keeping writing like that
Yeah. Yeah.
quality
Yeah.
of writing. And so it takes a lot of edits and I'd love to write a book like this, just something for money to
Right.
help people and for money. You know what I mean? Like an easy, like I think it's great how you do it. And I'm kind of a slit your wrists and bleed writer who minds the stuff of her own life to really help people. And
Right.
you know, I my kind of writing wouldn't work with come on, get it out there 30 days, it wouldn't work like
Right.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
can't. But I maybe I'll change my name and write a book like this or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, well, I have to
Well,
go,
hopefully
but
that was, yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you got something out of it, because I know you're writing something completely different than what we're talking about here today. So hopefully there was something there, one
it
little
was
thing.
very informative. Thank you so much.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
All right,
Well, have
see
fun.
ya.
Have fun with the house.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Where's my, hold on, what do you call the thing? My Fathom. There it is. I hope you enjoyed that session. Sign up for the challenge.